Hey, friends. Welcome back to the show. I'm your host, Melissa C. Pate, and I'm so happy you're here with me today. Now, this episode is one that's super personal to me, and I know it might resonate with a lot of you out there. We're diving into a journey that many of us dream about, homeownership. But let me tell you, buying my first home at 38 wasn't exactly what I thought it'd be. There were so many twists and turns and moments where I honestly thought about throwing in the towel. But here I am sitting in my dream home, and today I want to share all the messy details and lessons I learned along the way. So grab your cup of coffee and let's get into it. Okay, so here's the deal. Buying a house was a huge deal for me, especially at 38. Growing up, I didn't always have the financial stability to even dream about owning a home. So when I started thinking about it seriously, it felt like something out of reach. But as I got older, I realized that home ownership wasn't just about having a roof over my head. It was about building something for the future, something that would create stability and generational wealth for my daughters. That became my why. And that's what kept me going when everything felt like it was falling apart. Honestly, I never thought I'd actually get here, but now I can say I'm a homeowner, and that feels so good. Let me take you behind the scenes a little. The decision to buy a home wasn't a simple one, and it definitely wasn't smooth sailing. I mean, at first I thought I had it all figured out, right? You go on Zillow, look at a few places, maybe get a realtor. Easy, right? No, I was wrong. So wrong. I was on leave from work at the time, which honestly turned into a blessing. I had the time to really dive into the process, put in offers, stay on top of new listings, and just keep hustling. But let me tell you, when I started this journey, I did not expect it to be so competitive. I felt like I was losing out on every house I put an offer in on. It was exhausting. Like, seriously, I'd find myself sitting in a grocery store parking lot, staring at my phone, hoping I wouldn't lose out again. But then a huge twist. My 12-year-old daughter found our home. Yeah, you heard that right. She was the one who spotted it out on Zillow and said, "Mom, I think I found the one." And you know what? She was right. Now, just when I thought I had found the perfect house, I got the dreaded news the seller accepted another offer. I was crushed. But then 2 months later, out of nowhere, I get a call. "Hey, do you still want the house?" I mean, it felt like fate. It was kind of crazy. Looking back, though, I can see that this whole journey wasn't just about the house. It was about learning how to stay resilient, keep fighting for what I wanted, and not give up, even when it felt like it wasn't going to happen. And don't even get me started on the lender situation. I switched lenders 3 times, and every time I thought this was the one. But the right lender really made all the difference. I finally found Chris, and honestly, without him, I wouldn't have the keys to my house today. So if there's one thing I learned, is that your team matters. And that's something I'll dive deeper into a little later. Here's the thing about homeownership. I thought it was all about signing the papers and getting the keys, but I quickly learned there's a lot more to it than that. From unexpected repairs to figuring out how to manage my new property, there's been so much more work involved than I ever anticipated. And that's okay, it's all a part of the journey. One big lesson I learned is to don't settle. There were moments when I was so burned out that I started questioning everything I wanted. I thought, maybe I don't need a backyard. Maybe I don't need a second bathroom. But then I remembered why I started the process in the first place. I worked hard for this, and I deserve to have the things that mattered to me. So I stayed true to my vision, and I'm so glad I did. So if you're thinking about buying a home, especially if you're in your 30s or beyond, here's a few tips that helped me along the way. First and foremost, build a strong team around you. I can't stress this enough. You need a realtor who gets your vision, who's not just out for the sale, a lender who knows the ins and outs and stays on top of things, and of course, a home inspector who actually does their job and doesn't try to scare you with exaggerated problems. Trust me, I went through a couple before I found the one who I could rely on. Also, don't be afraid to adjust your approach when things aren't working. At one point, I had to switch from the Georgia Dream program to a conventional loan. It wasn't what I expected, but it ended up being what I needed to get my foot in the door. So be flexible and be open to making changes when necessary. Okay, let's talk about motivation for a second. Because let's be real, there were times when I thought about giving up. There were days when the whole process felt like a never ending headache. But I kept reminding myself of why I was doing this. It wasn't just for me, it was for my daughters, it was for our future. Every time I felt like giving up, I pictured them in our new home, and that kept me going. And don't forget to celebrate the small wins, like getting your loan paperwork in on time, or just making progress on the search. Those little victories add up and keep your momentum going. Before I wrap up, I just want to leave you with a few final thoughts. First, know your why. Whether it's financial stability or creating a legacy for your family, having a clear reason will help you power through the tough moments. Second, build your team. Don't settle for a realtor or lender who doesn't have your back. And lastly, stay patient, stay persistent, and trust the process. It won't be easy, but it will be worth it. If you're thinking about taking the plunge into homeownership, take it one step at a time. Start saving, set realistic goals, and don't let the setbacks discourage you. Your dream home could be closer than you think. All right, that's all I've got for today. I'd love to hear your thoughts. What's your homeownership journey been like? Drop a comment below and share your experience. Or if you're just starting out, feel free to ask any questions you might have. I'll be reading through them, and I might just feature your story in a future episode. And if you want more tips on living your best life, budget-friendly tips, homeownership advice, or anything in between, make sure to subscribe and stay tuned for more episodes. Thanks for hanging out with me today, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye, guys.